Hey there. Hola, amigos. Nice to have you in the room, and thanks for taking time to learn more about diversity, especially in unlikely times, favorite times like the war times. And first thing of all, when I started proposing this talk to the summit, I did not expect that things would go such a worse situation. Maybe deep down inside me, I thought they will improve, slight chances there, but I did not expect that another conflict will take all our attention in the last month. I am a very sensitive person that I do feel this even if I'm not directly affected, so I do apologize if this topic is a bit more controversial and all. We're gonna mention the war times and what that impacted me as a person. And after that, we'll talk about diversity and inclusion, equity and equality, and financial literacy. I do want to mention a bit more about myself. I'm an engineer manager at Cosa and Box, and I like to add the flavor of community and develop because I spent more than 13 years dealing or working with communities, especially in open source. Besides that, as you can see, I am a woman in tech, so the topic of diversity is very dear to myself, and I do contribute to Women in Tech Cluj, my former hometown, and I also teach kids to code through a program at the European Commission called Code Week, where I am an ambassador. Besides that, I do want to spread more of the knowledge, so I'm ambassador for several conferences. Do approach me if you want to talk at one of them. The cute story when I decided to apply was like, who would like to learn more about diversity? Why we keep talking about it? My first presentation on the topic was around 10 years ago, I think, so I thought that by 2020, we're gonna be fixing it, we're gonna be everything good, like, it's done. 10 years ago, same topic to debate, we're gonna fly cars in 2023, right? We're gonna go to Mars. Well, as we saw yesterday too, with some technical problems, we are not gonna get to Mars. We don't have yet clear all the data usage, connectivity. Yeah, we are not gonna get to Mars, my friends, not this time. And unfortunately, in 2022, we had to imagine the unimaginable, a war literally close to my hometown. And by this, I mean Aiud. I was born and raised in the middle of Transylvania. Don't worry, I am a vampire, but during the day, I behave nicely. We'll see you at the dinner tonight. And lovely checking it there. And if you check a bit more, here in the corner, it's Ukraine. For those who are not familiar with European geography or news, a war started in 24th of February last year, I think. And if we look a bit more closer, through the map down, one of the points to exit Ukraine for those who wanted to take shelter and to leave the war times was through a highway that crosses Aiud. There, even if I'm not still living in Aiud, my family does, I live currently in Berlin. So I thought, how can I help? My brother and the local community, which here's my brother, the local community decided to make a point for the refugees to give them help and some material stuff that they will need, like blankets, some food, some recommendation. So I'm very proud of them. And we say, okay, but how did you contribute from Berlin? Well, I added the map on Google Maps, so I was very proud of that. But nevertheless, we were chatting there, like, you would see people with expensive cars or women that are well dressed driving around, and we would say like, these are not people in bad condition. They are not poor people. This is called whataboutism. It's the action that you do when you try to change the focus from one underprivileged group to another one. We saw this, unfortunately, more with Black Lives Matter, when everybody started to say, well, white lives matter too. And it was like, not the point of the discussion. Of course, all lives matter, but in the case when one group, like black people, were suffering from aggression towards them, we are not talking about our house that is not on fire. So priorities in terms of discussion was exactly like this. Yes, the people that afford to leave Ukraine had to be more on the rich side, because you need gas, you need a car to travel. Others took trains. Of course, they were not the poorest, but they are still in unprecedented condition for themselves. And that meant they would have to struggle with a mental load too. So that made me thought about the talk that I had on diversity and also towards accessibility. All people, over the course of their lives, traffic between times of relative independence and dependence, which means if you get injured on your leg, you're going to be, needing special treatment. You're still not with a special condition, but for a temporary part of your life, you will be. So things that we implement for such people will benefit us all. And this is when I realized that, yes, we live in a bubble, and we have these bubbles already these days on social media. And we try to think, like I said previously, that everybody thinks the same. I thought everybody knew about diversity. I thought everybody literally tries to embody this. Well, not quite. And this, it might be different, because I talk about diversity in terms of wartime. We don't talk about diversity of gender, religion, race, and all that, but more on the situation, this temporary part of your lives when everything changes for yourself. Moreover, when we talk about diversity, this is my favorite analogy. If in a diverse environment, you yourself, you are different, but you're invited to a party. Inclusion, to make you feel part of the group, you are even invited to dance on the dance floor. And what would be belonging in that group? Dance like nobody's listening. Nobody's watching. Do your best, show there, and enjoy the day. Feel like you can belong, that nobody's judging you. And the best part of it is because people say like, oh, equal stuff. Unfortunately, equality doesn't mean equity, doesn't mean we are in the same situation. Two of my favorite pictures to illustrate this are not mine, but are very used on the internet, check them out. It's exactly this. Yes, we are equal, we have the same ladder, but we don't have the same amount of apples. Even worse, with here, there in equity, we do have a longer ladder to reach at the same amount of apples. We need to strive for justice, to create the same opportunities for people, even without them doing extra work. And here, I like this analogy, because I said, how we fix this? By creating the boxes that are missing. And here, I start thinking about the financial literacy, starting from the web experience that I have. I spent all my career in mobile application, basically web application, because it was mostly browsers, and the web, of course. And from there, I figured out, okay, the web is everywhere. What can we learn from this? It's more and more accessible. Is it a financial platform at this point? No, it does. We still have a lot of other situations in which payment has no connection with the internet, with the web platform or anything, which is super good. We still need those. And we have a lot of way more diverse forms of money, starting from credit cards, different accounts that will not have a physical card, like PayPal, or in other places you just pay by accounts without any bank account settled to them. So it can be really anything in this day. The form of money takes different shapes. And as I mentioned, I thought, okay, people at this point in life kind of have a digital experience, digital literacy. I'm not saying everyone can write code, everyone builds it, not at all. Being digital literate means that they understand to use a mobile phone. And yes, that can be a smartphone or can be a way more basic one with a few apps. But overall, everyone these days kind of have access to a phone, a digital device. From there, we go at the web, which implemented all of the services that we need to do these days. So what comes next? Being financial literate on the internet or on the digital life that you create. And how we are going to do that? With open payments. Here, we always have to take into account the local context. Do we have access to a fast network? Do we have access only to a 2G connection? Back in the days, I used to work with Firefox OS, where we implemented progressive web apps, which in India, for example, we could do the whole shopping. The site was offline first, so loaded everything. And when you decided to pay, because you didn't have good internet, you could have called and make your order at the end. So you could have a full web experience without being connected to internet. Second, when we talk about money, we need to be both safe and fast, because as long as we keep their people and they are concerned, they will lose their fare, they can do something online. And to be accessible to everyone, to information that what they need to do is the correct way of using their money. Again, when we talk with people about their money, it's a very difficult situation and more specific, more important. So when you do think about this, change your perspective. Think about the users that you want to have on your app, or if you're part of an organization, think of yourself as a diverse body, how you can contribute to this. And some of the things that I really believe will help is to try to educate the institutions. Yes, it's a longer process, maybe harder one, but if we lose hope that we can do this, we're literally losing hope in humanity, because we are run by institutions, both governmental or NGOs or even Interledger is something that it's an organization. So we have to believe that these bodies, legal bodies, can help us going forward, changing things. I mentioned there to think of inclusion from the beginning. Don't think about only the group of users, human beings that you have. Think, who are we missing in this discussion? Okay, we think of women in this context, with women in tech, but let's include everyone in the end solution. We do facilitate for a group of people, but think larger. I said there, and I know it's not funny, but I do said, go where people are. Don't do that in the war times. Try to avoid the war zone as much as possible. Do help remotely, but never ever put your life in danger. And again, it's not funny. Don't take it with, like my smile is just because I have to do this disclaimer. I really want everyone to feel safe. And try to educate others. Do mentoring sessions, support them, answer clearly to the questions that they have, situations that they have encountered, and then you'll gain their trust. And flexibility. Again, when you have a new thing to adopt, you really need to be there for the people to be flexible. One of the last things I want to mention is that maybe you will say, like, well, it's not my problem. Like the privileges. I'm white, born in Romania. I didn't have any option when I was born to choose. I maybe would have made me a bit more tan, or maybe I would have made myself British to be from the royal families. No, we can't choose where we are born. So with the thing that we have, the privilege of my little. Maybe like, as an East European, my privilege is very minimal versus others, but still, I should use my privilege to help others in need. So try to amplify the voices for those who have even less privileges than you. Whenever you can stand for someone underprivileged, do take the stand and represent them. Another exclamation point is that I hear all the time, we should empower women in tech. I am a woman in tech. I'm already tired to be empowered. The only thing that I need is not to have roadblocks because I'm a woman, because managers we hire, they're alike, like men. So if you don't create these roadblocks for other people, the people will be empowered already. Everyone wants to strive, everyone wants to do better in life. And this is because you expect also from women in tech to do, you have to do more work or you have to present better your work. No, I don't. I really don't want to do extra work at the end of the day. I don't want to still do the interview because I'm a woman in tech, so they see that others, we have women, it's inclusion. Or can you represent us for Women's Day? Yes, I will do an interview or a presentation or an article. Extra work. Do my colleagues do that? No. And most of the time, let's face it, it's not from your work time. So it's extra work all the time. So don't use the empowerment to build solutions that will create extra work for the people in need. This thing will create mental load for them extremely. And when you are already in a situation that you're tired, you're losing yourself, adding more steps like this to be empowered to do more stuff will literally put you down on the floor. This is because, like I mentioned with the privilege, you can have all the time the best intentions, but if at the end of the day, the impact is not a positive one, it doesn't matter your intentions. So try to think all the time, what's the impact of your actions, what are the things. With the open payment, I really believe that we can help those that, for example, stay in line, older people, to check their accounts at the end of the day. Be there when there is no other solution. They cannot go to a bank, they don't have a credit card. And funny enough, I learned a lot of things, such a diverse perspective, being here at the Interledger Summit, attending other sessions. I've been to the one with people from Netherlands that are undocumented. I never considered Netherlands will have such a problem with all digital systems. People still wait to get documents to be able to participate in that society. Or even more with people from the Mexican Association of Small Banks, where they use farmers and they don't have internet in all over the country. Mexico is a huge country, so these kind of categories, as you can see, we need to represent them. So open payments will be definitely a way forward for them too. I really wanted to give the example with the wheelchairs because yes, it's made for a certain category of people, but don't the mother with kids in strollers also use them? Don't the people riding, when you're tired and you cannot do steps to go up somewhere, take the steps, don't you also take the ramp? Yes, you do. So things that help others help us too. If we improve something for others, we improve for ourselves too. And why I push so much about this, because I really believe that knowledge should not be a privilege. Everyone should have access to the conditions that we have, those privileged ones, I mean. If not, we should be those that create those for them. So thank you so much for joining me today, and let's continue this discussion. If you have any situation from your country where I could learn from difficult parts and or the solution that you already have, I'm more than happy to learn about it. Thank you so much.